Those mostly peaceful protesters, the ones with the guillotine in front of the White House. I love that. But it was a mostly peaceful guillotine.
It was.
Okay?
It
was. Just stands there most of the time.
Most of the time.
Occasionally it cuts somebody's head off, but it's mostly peaceful.
It's just a sharp knife suspended in the air. Get over it.
Right. It's peaceful. It's not doing anything. All right. So they had that in front of the White House. They were attacking elderly people last night in front of the White House. And then my favorite story, Rand Paul. God bless Rand Paul, man. Pray for the safety of our elected officials. Pray for safety for really everybody on all sides. This thing could spiral into 1968 so fast. It almost did last night. There were about 100 members of this angry mob about a block away from the White House, and they just surrounded and attacked Rand Paul and I think his wife. And here's the thing. Why were they attacking him, Sue?
They were screaming, say her name, justice for Breonna Taylor, which is a fascinating thing, particularly to Rand Paul.
Right. Why?
Because he wrote the Justice for Breonna Taylor Act.
Morons.
Could there be a more obvious admission of your own ignorance to be yelling at Rand freaking Paul, the guy who has been talking about no-knock warrants since you've heard of him? Before you
were born, you knucklehead.
He was talking about it while he was doing eye surgery. Right? He's a libertarian. He's opposed this the entire time. The Breonna Taylor thing has literally nothing to do with race. If you look at the case, they weren't even shooting at Breonna Taylor. They were shooting at her boyfriend, who, by the way, actually shot a police officer. I don't blame him for that, by the way. It was a terrible incident. It was not his fault. But he had actually fired his gun at the police and hit the police before they fired a bullet. So, the idea that this was some racist stalking thing is insanity. It is a perfect example of the libertarian critique of police when you're talking about no-knock raids in the middle of the night over a drug offense in the middle of a pandemic. Why were they there? There is a legitimate point to be made there. The Black Lives Matter point has literally nothing to do with the Breonna Taylor case at all. It has nothing to do. It is likely that these officers could not even see Breonna Taylor when they were shooting. They just know they got shot by a bullet. One of them was actually struck by a bullet from a gun, and they started firing back in the direction of where the bullet came from. There's no disagreement about this, by the way. That's exactly what happened. So yes, no-knock warrant. So
you're saying
is a problem.
Don't kill Rand Paul in the streets?
Yes, he is probably the biggest ally in
don't
America.
Don't behead him.
Yes, don't behead him.
Don't behead him.
Probably the biggest ally in America.
Gotta write that one down.
To solve the actual problem that occurred with Breonna Taylor. Probably the biggest ally in America. You're surrounding him and threatening his life. This is how dumb this is.
I think I got it. Behead Rand Paul. No, don't. Oh, sorry.
Don't.
I got it. Don't behead Rand Paul.
It's important. The word don't. Important. Make sure that's in front of the words beheading.
Don't do
And
something.
by the way, another thing. This is important. Order is crucial here. 1, learn. 2, protest. You got to do it in that order. It's really hard because a lot of times you want to go out and protest, and I'll learn about this afterward. No, you have to learn first and protest after you learn.
But what if I learned how to protest in school already?
No. You have to learn about the thing you're protesting. So maybe if you're this passionate about Breonna Taylor, you should read word 1 about the case. I'll give it to you. Go to Stu Does the Truth About Breonna Taylor. Had to change the naming convention for this particular one because I did not feel it was appropriate. Stu Does the Truth About Breonna Taylor. Look at that. It is a great case for people who, like Radley Balco, who wrote a whole book about the militarization of police. And it's about tactics. It's not bashing police officers. It's about these tactics. Authorizing a no-knock raid in the middle of the night for someone who wasn't even accused of the crime, but was believed to be associated with someone who was accused of a crime in the middle of a pandemic, I would just argue is a bad idea. The situation should not have occurred that way. You could have grabbed Breonna Taylor on her way out of work and talked to her, and she probably would have talked to you. The idea that you're just going to bust in the middle of the night is just bad practice, and that's something that I think police have to be very, very careful in utilizing. But that is a totally different point than all cops are racist and we need to go get Rand Paul. It's insanity.